Hi, this is Robin Clements, and this video is meant to serve as my first of two field reflections for self-mentoring and my project for that. This is actually the compilation of 4 days of work, and I know when I created my plan I wanted to have 2 journals and then 2 more in a week, but there's only space for 2 field reflection uploads, so I kind of merged the work of 2 into 1. Step 1 of self-mentoring requires self-awareness. So this week, and actually before this activity started, last week during a work retreat, I actually became engaged in gathering data from colleagues and my own self-reflection, and then assessing myself and my environment so I can figure out how best to reach my goal of finding a way to lead more in my office. Personal strengths and weaknesses. In our retreat and then after, we've had to engage in some activities where we consider our own strengths and areas for growth and then have input from other colleagues. So when we upload our materials, there'll be some more information about how I did this. But the strengths that I would agree that I have, some of these came from me and some came from a total tally of colleagues, are kindness, dependability, a sense of humor. I'm genuine and I have morals and I work by those values. That's what my colleagues and I feel are my greatest assets in the work environment. I have some areas of growth. Sometimes I can come across as too casual. I know it's true, I don't like that, but it is accurate. Sometimes it can seem like I don't have a lot of focus. When I get excited about a project, I want to throw everything into that. And it may seem like I'm not as focused and I kind of am a little bit scattered. Although I'd like to think there's a method to my madness. I know that I need to appear more focused and demonstrate that skill. I can come across as really exuberant, which is a positive, but in my college, for some reason, sometimes that comes across as a little bit immature. And then I put bold, and actually the request from my colleagues was that I need to be more bold. They mentioned that oftentimes I seem to know the proper course of action, but I still double check myself. So I need to work on those skills in order to be able to lead a little bit more. Environmental factors. I went through some of the questions that were in your book, Dr. Carr, about self-mentoring, and I found that there's no goals or mission statement posted in our office, although at the retreat, we were all informed that our office has a mission statement. So I've actually already recommended that be posted. As students walk in, they can see that, and us as well, to kind of remind us of our goals. I'm helpful and our office is helpful, but we're all kind of guarded. There is a tense dynamic right now in the office with some power struggles going on. So there does seem to be like some teams and sides about things. So we're hesitant sometimes to share ideas. Sometimes I'd even say I'm scared to do so around some people in the office. This office has a history of issues that goes back a decade, but in the recent 6 years, things have become more collaborative. It's only in the past year that things have gotten a little weird and tense again. Overall, we do collaborate well. And the value of an employee is really based on the supervisor. My supervisor works very hard to show my value and reward, but some other supervisors don't. So there are differences in the office that I think a new employee might question, and I know a new employee would, because they've questioned me. My next steps in my self-mentoring project to get to my expectation that I formulated of finding a way to lead in my office is to consider which of the potential options I've listed here would be the best way for me to start to lead, and then to begin to map out that plan and work with my supervisor. The potential options are a new hire guide. We have no clear process for people and new employees in our office. There is an onboarding procedure for the university, but that doesn't happen for a few days. So our office could use something like that. Some new hires have mentioned that they felt really lost and left out, and I think there's a need for that. I feel like I could lead in morale activities. That kind of falls onto a couple folks in our office that seem to kind of have all the control. And if there was a way for me to shift a little bit of that leadership over to me and so folks feel like they have more of an input in our activities. Or the university tries to find wellness coaches in each department. I've pondered this for a long time. My office knows in the past year and a half I've really worked hard to make wellness a priority in my life, and I think it's something that our office could benefit from. So my next steps are to figure out how I can meet my expectation listed above through one of these potential options. So I'm going to wrap up, leave it at that. Hopefully early next week I'll have engaged in something that helps me pick one of these options and evaluate how I can proceed next.